Can everybody see the screen?
I do believe so.
Okay.
All right, so this is our presentation on the permit renewal. We're going to use this permit renewal form to turn in our annual compliance documents and also pay annual fees. To find KEAMS, our database, we can start here. This will take us to the link on KDHE's website, or you can directly go to KEAMS with this link. Okay. This is the link within our website on KDHE. You can click here. This is what it looks like, the first sign-in page. I'm assuming all of us have accounts already, especially if you got this email invite. You're going to go ahead and sign in with an existing account. If you forgot your password, you can go ahead and click this, and it will send you an email to the email address you used to sign up. Your username is your email, the email address that you originally used. I can't tell you what your password is, please don't ask. But if you've forgotten it, go ahead and click this link. You'll enter your email address, and you'll have a link to reset that password. You'll have to answer a security question. I do believe you answered 5 when you initially set up the account. After you get signed into KEAMS, you're going to go and select the site that you want to do the permit renewal for. It'll be up here in this box. You can click in this box and toggle between the sites. Some of us have one, some of us have many, but remember, whatever site you're working with, you want to select here. After you get that site selected, you're going to come down here and click permits and registrations. You'll see a nice little permit record of this site. In this case, we have an in effect permit that ends July 31st, 2022. We want to prepare for our next permit cycle. So we're going to click these 3 little dots, then select view permit change forms. From there, we will get an option to begin the underground storage tank permit renewal. And you'll see a nice little description of this form. We use it to pay annual fees, turn in our annual compliance documents, and renew that existing permit. And for all of us that need a reminder, permits are due, or these permit applications are due April 30th. Yeah, April 30th, they're all due. But it's a good idea to get started early. You can begin filling these out as soon as January 1st. This is the next screen, just begin form entry. All right, that was the older version of, or that is the current version of how you access that form. In a matter of a few weeks, we're going to update KEAMS, and it's going to look a little different. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you're going to find that form in a few weeks. So once you get logged into KEAMS, it's going to look like this, not now, but in a few weeks. Once you get here, instead of going to permits and registrations, you will go to start a new form. And then you'll select, I want to renew, modify, or terminate an existing permit, license, or registration. And as you can see, we have the site selected here at the top as well. From there, it'll look like this. It'll say, begin the underground storage tank permit renewal. You'll begin, and you'll recognize this page. It looks the same. Go ahead and select, and now we're in the form. The first section of the form is this facility information section. This stuff is kind of locked into the document. you won't be able to edit this. If there is something wrong, go ahead and shoot us an email and we can get that corrected for you. But we don't necessarily need you changing the address of where the tanks are.
This is part, it looks like this now.
No,
This form isn't on there now.
this form is on here now.
Okay.
Sorry, the form looks exactly the same, whether you access it the old way or the new way. Once you get into the form, it's going to look the same. Those two different ways were just showing you how it will change, like how you'll navigate to the form in a few weeks. But the form looks like this right now. It'll look like this later too. We'll begin with this facility information section. Like I said, you can't change this information, but down below it, you can change the facility contact information. You'll have to put that in much like you always did. It'll just be whoever your contact person is at that site. Here is some tank owner information. Again, this can't be changed here at the top. If it does need to change, you'll have to fill out a change of ownership form. But you'll have to fill in your tank owner contact information. As you can see, Garrett has filled in for us here. Yeah, there is a drop down here. This is just an easy kind of fill thing. Once you enter one person's contact information, if it happens to be the same across, you can just use this drop down so you don't have to keep typing it over and over again. I use this autofill function just like here. So I picked Garrett and it filled in nicely. All right, so this is my tank information. I've went ahead and I'm going to renew the permit for one tank. This is just a nice summary. You're not able to change this, but it does kind of provide a nice overview of what's going on with this tank. Items of note are whether it's exempt or not, the year it was installed, whether it's on a temp permit, the status. Down below, you'll see the primary release detection method. You want to go ahead and kind of make note of that because that'll come into play here in this section. This is just a summary of our lines. Again, it's just kind of what the line is made of. And again, line release detection, kind of take note of that. You're going to use it in a minute. And here we are in the monthly monitoring section. This is probably the most complicated section of this whole form, and that's because many of us use different methods of monitoring our tanks. And the things that influence that are, what year the tank was installed and kind of the size of it. You took note in an earlier section of what your primary release detection for your tank and your line was on file. It's a good idea to just go ahead and go with that if you're not sure what you're able to use, because there are different rules. And in this section, you can see kind of an explanation of who can and can't do different methods. If you have an interstitial monitoring system, you are required to use interstitial monitoring if the tank was installed 2013 and after that. So here, if you've already forgotten, it will give you a nice overview of what you're using to monitor your tanks and lines. So I'm going to scroll down. Based on this right here, I'm going to say, all right, I'm using interstitial monitoring for my tank. I'm using interstitial monitoring for my line. Safe to say I can fill out this form right here, the interstitial monitor double wall annual summary form. I'll go ahead and fill that one out. But there are a few of you that actually have different systems where maybe you'll see that you have an interstitially monitored tank, but you have a line that is an ATG or an ALM. And if that's the case, then you will need to fill out 2 summary forms. But in general, most of us, these are the same form, and we can use one form to cover it. So here that is. I'm going to go ahead and download it if I don't have it already filled out. After I get that filled out, I'm going to attach it right here where it says to put it. If you need help, if you need assistance managing your data and your files, you can refer to Victor Semino's earlier presentation. Last Wednesday, I think he did a data management presentation, and that should be posted to our website soon. I would strongly suggest you view that if you're wanting to know more about how to save your files on the computer or any of that. After I attach that annual summary, I'm going to scroll down further and I'll see this section. It's asking me to attach my December monitoring record. It's going to look different depending on, again, what type of monthly monitoring method that you use. For me, I have interstitial monitoring. I'm going to attach my sensor history report, and it's going to give me a nice overview of my sensors and if they were functioning every month of the year. I need at the very least to attach my December sensor history because I want to show that going into the new year, my sensors were functioning correctly. But for those of you that are using an ATG, that could look different. It's going to be your line leak test history for your lines, and it's going to be your tank leak test history for your tanks. Once you get those printed off, you'll attach them there, or not printed, I should say, uploaded, or you have an electronic record of it. You're going to go ahead and attach it right here. A lot of us have been doing this for years, but I know some of us come in every year and we're lost, and that's fair. It is a very niche kind of thing. Now, there are different links throughout this form that are helping you to figure this out. Here down below in the monthly monitoring section, we have links to the manuals for Avita Root TLS 350 and other kind of models of ATG, and they're going to explain to you how to pull these compliance reports that we're looking for. And you're going to use those compliance reports to fill out your monthly monitoring form, whichever form that may be. And in this next section, it is the inventory control section. Here, if I don't have the form, again, I can click it and download it. Again, there's also, for those of us that it's our first year doing it and we're not quite sure, there's some nice instructions here. This is fairly helpful for understanding how to do inventory in Kansas. And if at all that you're confused, I would suggest that you refer to this. After I fill out my annual summary, I'm going to go ahead and drop it there. Again, 1 per tank. Here, after I scroll down in the inventory control section, I'm going to see this December 30-day inventory record box. You should have those records already stored, but if you don't, if you're looking for what it is that I'm talking about, you can click here. There's an example form and a blank form. And yeah, we're just going to put that record there. And essentially, it's just showing us how did you get those numbers that you are summarizing in the annual summary for inventory control. Our newest form per our October rules is the walkthrough inspection checklist. You can download one here, but we should have been filling it out throughout the year. If you did, great, go ahead and scan it in and upload it there. If you didn't, this is available for you. This is our temp out section. This will, of course, only apply to our temp out tanks. If you have a tank that is in temp out status, I need you to go ahead and fill this out. It can cover multiple ones. If you have 3 temp out tanks at a site, you can go ahead and put them all on this one and then again, fill it out and put it here. If you have a current in use tank that you've decided that you no longer want to use, go ahead and put it on this form and again, put it here. This is our cathodic protection section. This section is only going to apply to those that use an impressed current system. And that's because those that use an impressed current system also need to turn in a rectifier log annual summary. And that's just stating that your rectifier has been on all year and that it's been protecting your tank from corroding. Again, you can see up here what we're using to protect the tank. In my case, my tank is fiberglass. I can skip this section. My line is non-metallic. It's not going to corrode. But if you've got a method, if any of these say impressed current, you need to fill this out. This is our permitting items miscellaneous. This is a nice catch-all area. I know a lot of times when you guys go ahead and submit your annual compliance documents, we get back to you and we say things like, you're out for CP testing, you're out for line testing. Some test that you needed has expired. And in this area, we're just saying, hey, I know that you guys have been testing things throughout the year. We're all human. Sometimes we don't get these tests. Sometimes it's possible that the contractors have forgotten to send them or things happen. In this case, I would say if you have copies of this testing that you've done, I would go ahead and attach them here. At that point, we can get those entered if we don't already have them on file. And if we do have them on file, then hey, at least they're up here in the document section and you can see them electronically. So I would suggest, since a lot of us are out for ATG console tests and probes, spill buckets, and overfill, if you guys attach anything in that section, I would strongly suggest that you attach these new October testing requirements and get us these tests in, because a lot of us are out for this one. This is our fees section. You don't need to do anything here. It's just telling you how much you owe, the number of tanks you're renewing. It's explaining kind of our late fees here and our penalties. For those of you that don't know, when you renew after April 30th, you face an additional $50 per tank. If you renew after August 1st, it's an additional $100 per tank on that. So I would strongly suggest that you get these renewals in and quickly. It's gotten expensive. This is a review section. It's just an overview of everything you just filled out. It's going to make you scroll to the bottom. If you see something that you filled out incorrectly, say in a contact field, you're just going to go back up there and edit it. But once you go to the bottom and click next, you should be good to proceed to the next section. And this is where we're going to certify and submit the form. So we'll submit. This little box will pop up. I suggest that we all pay online if at all possible. I know some of us with multiple sites have been using the pay by mail function, and that's fine, because we haven't worked out through Pay It how to pay for multiple sites at once. But once we do work that out, and I would expect that it would be pretty soon here, but once that's worked out, I would hope that we can all use the pay online function, because it really automates things and it makes things a lot faster. We can get those permit renewals turned over and out to you guys a lot quicker if we do that. After you click pay online, it will take you to Pay It. Pay It is not Keems. It is a third party. It's a third party. So don't use your Keems email address and password and try to log in here, because it's actually your Keems or your Pay It account. Some of us use Pay It to pay property taxes, I think.
It's under
Yes.
ICANN. It's
Under
the same as
ICANN.
Pay It.
Yeah. So anyway, those of us that have an account, we can go ahead and log in. If you don't have an account, you can go ahead and sign up, which would be beneficial if you're going to do this year after year, or you can continue as a guest. Once you get in there, there is, so you can pay with an e-check as well as with a card. I think we accept all, it accepts all forms of payment, really.
Mhm.
All right, so some of us are in more of a business kind of setup, where the people that turn in the compliance documents don't necessarily have access to their business's accounts or account cards. So your office people might need to pay the bill while separate people are going to actually turn in this stuff, like the compliance annual summaries, to us. If that's the case, I would suggest that you guys make use of this authorized user function. That is right here. So once you select a site, up in this box, you'll drop down to authorized user, and then you'll invite a user to join. If you're the compliance person and you're just turning in these documents, you're going to go in and you're going to fill out that permit renewal, and then you'll invite your person in the office that's going to pay the bill, and you'll invite them by their email address, and you'll type in their name, and they'll get an invite sent by Keems admin to that email address, and they'll be able to set up their own account and their own password. When they log in, they'll see what you see. They'll see this site, and they will click financials, and then they will see what they owe. They'll click pay online, and it'll link them to Pay It. And we're back to where we were before. So this is the document section. Here is where you're going to find your operating permit certificate once we approve the application. So once you get an email from Keems, so you'll get an email from Keems explaining when we've assigned that application to someone to process. So it could be any three of us, I think 4 of us that are now doing the applications. You'll see who it is. It might be myself, it might be Marcus here. You'll see when we've been assigned to process your application. Keems admin will email you and tell you that. Once we've approved it, you can log into Keems, go to this document section, and you will see your operating permit certificate at the top. You're still responsible for downloading it and printing it and displaying it at your site. You're going to see a lot of different things in here as we start to, and we're getting better at naming these files as we go, but you'll see a copy of that application, that permit renewal application, and you'll see a copy of all the documents that you turned into us. So you won't need to ask us necessarily if we received your inventory control annual summary, or whether we received your testing. this or that, because you're going to see it actually in your documents section. You can log in and see whether or not we've got this record from you. This is the dashboard section. If at any point you need to exit that form, you need to back up and you need to get your records together, so you can't really certify and submit it right away. You can save it, exit, come back to it later, go to dashboard, and you'll see this. It'll be a draft submission. You'll click continue and you'll be able to pick back up wherever you left off. If you get an email telling you that we were unable to approve your application, what you're going to want to do is log into Keams, select the site, go to dashboard, and instead of continue or delete draft, you'll see a little button that says revise next to the permit renewal in dashboard. You'll click revise, and then you'll see a message from staff telling you why we couldn't approve your application. And more than likely, we're just going to ask you to correct one of your annual summary documents, or we're going to ask you to turn in some testing. All right, thank you very much. And if you guys have any questions following this presentation, we are going to open this up for QA, but if you have any questions after, you can always email us at kdhe.tankinfo@ks.gov. This is kind of our group email, so any of us can come in and see it.